Hello everyone, Danny Hauger here, welcoming you back to our part 2 series in our Garageband lessons on Teachers Pay Teachers and without the instructions on YouTube. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Let's begin. Last time, we got some basic overview of the workspace. You got to explore some musical typing with some popular songs that you'd recognize, and hopefully you've written a couple of melodies as well, just to practice with and get you excited about using our Garageband series. Today, we're going to drop that beat. We're going to explore the digital drummers and how to open different kinds of sessions and how to find the perfect drummer setting and sound for your particular need for the song that you're creating in your course. So let's open up GarageBand and let's get started. I recommend starting out in a songwriter or an electronic session just because they're simpler. And when you load up the session, you'll see something like this. All of your tracks vertically oriented, and you've got all of your drum kits then preloaded. Once you click on the drum kit, it will preload about 16 bars, which you can play by hitting the spacebar or stop by hitting the spacebar or the play button above. And that is an indicator of what's playing currently. Now, of course, one size isn't going to fit all. You're not going to just instantly love the drummer, and there's a lot of settings that you need to correct. So first of all, you need to decide, hopefully by now, whether you wanted to produce a fast song or a slow song, and that's the BPM, the beats per minute. And you can make it faster by clicking, holding, and dragging up. And now you can see how much faster it's moving. Or by clicking and dragging and slowing it down for like a ballad or a slow song. It's up to you. I'd imagine most of the students are going to pick fast, and that's fine. So you can see it now going much slower. And so now to explore, you can even adjust the BPM while the track is playing. Up to 140, faster to 160, and down to 116. All right. And this is with Kyle. Now what you're going to notice is you have a lot of selections. First of all, if you like the sound of that drum kit that's preloaded, that's great. That's the Detroit Garage on my settings. You can change the drum set itself by clicking on any of them, and you'll notice it's been confirmed when you see the image. So Liverpool drums sound a bit different. And the Manchester drums have a little bit more high end on them as well. The great thing is you can spend about 10 minutes right now exploring any drum set that you want and just hearing the differences. And maybe you're going to go back and choose a different drum set after you modify the rest of the regions and settings and presets, which we're about to go through. If that were not enough, and actually it's not, because you've listened to 1,000 songs in your lifetime and they all have a different signature sound, the drummer makes a big difference on the track as well. You've got Kyle, Logan, Anders, Max, Jesse, and Ian, all of them with their own unique brand of just rock drums. And if you're looking to come up with a different kind of song, like electronic or hip hop or songwriter style songs, you just click on that style and there's a number of drums and drummers to choose from, each one with its own distinctive kit, which you can modify. And so you can change your drummer and this drum set that he's using. And you can also go through some presets. So let's hear just what Darcy sounds like out of the box with the Hotel Cafe preset. Sounds good. Lost at Sea. But what if you're saying, oh, I like it, but it's too loud? If you look at this matrix here, you've got loud, soft, simple, and complex. If you drag to soft, now he's playing the rim shot on the snare drum. And if you still want the snare a little bit higher, and then maybe in another part of the song, when you start looping, you want him to get louder for the chorus or the verse, or really loud. And you'll hear the adjustment happen on the fly. Now, simple and complex can go from very sparse beats like this, or very complex with lots of intertwining rhythms. You'll hear the hi-hat get much more interesting and lots of different cymbal interactions. You can also change the drums that are being played. If you want him to play the toms, click on him. If you want to hear him play the ride cymbal, click on it. A pattern, and it'll update. You can throw some shaker in. tambourine, or clapping hands. You can also change the frequency of how frequently the claps or shakers or tambourines happen. You can also change the frequency of the cymbals and what kind of a drum beat that you want with the kick and the snare as well. You can also tell it to follow some of the other tracks, and we'll get to that in a later lesson. For now, take time, try out a few drummers, try mixing the matrix around for different results, and then try selecting different parts of the drum kit until you found a pattern that you like. When you like it, you can go to the end of your current loop. If you hover your mouse right at the end of the portion that's currently there, you can make it loop by clicking, holding, and dragging for as many bars as you want. Think in terms of 8s or 16s. That's usually how verses and choruses progress in 8-bar sections. Or you can drag it as far along as you want until you think you have a full song's worth. And you can always then adjust it back by clicking and dragging in. Okay? So for now, I'll leave it at 48. And if you wanted to vary, you don't want every part of the song to have the exact same drums, you can click on individual sections. That section from 1 to 16, or this section from 17 to the next, and so on and so on. And if you wanted to have, say, like the ride cymbals on this side, then you can do that. And if you wanted the hi-hat here, now listen to the difference as we cross between bar 16 and 17. And you're about to hear the switch. Did you hear it? So take some time, click and drag to make a loop, and then try making different drum beats on different sections. I suggest, and you can do whatever you think sounds good, starting out more on the simple side and more on the soft end. Then as you get to the next more complex parts of the song, where later on you'll be adding more instruments through each part of the song, you end up more loud and more complex as you go, or at least louder as you go. Typically, that's common in a song that builds. So yeah, try out all the different songwriters. Even if you think you're not going to do an R&B song, why don't you try and see what Rose sounds like with different R&B grooves on a drier kit, and maybe you'll be surprised that you can blend different genres of music by just having a different drummer's influence. For example, if you wanted Duncan and maybe a second drummer, you could really add depth to any style of song and songwriter. Well, really, go enjoy. I'm sure you've already stopped the video several times by now, but pause right now, try different drummers. If you want to add a second drummer and have them both play together, sometimes that can create really amazing sounds. Click, drag, and loop. Try changing just particular sections of the track. And when you're done with that, we'll move on to part 3 in our series, Week 3. For right now, that's it. Danny Hauger saying thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next part of the series.